Welcome to Expert Channel TV. Today we have another outstanding guest from the Golden Door Awards, the first international writers award based on the topic of truth and integrity. So please welcome my guest today, Kevin Cottam. Hello, Kevin. Nice to have you.
Hello. It's great to be here on Expert TV.
We are so happy to have you here to be able to show our viewers the amazing work you do, and we also want to hear about the work you've submitted to the Golden Door Awards. So let's start by getting to know Kevin a little bit better. So who are you and what do you do when you're not writing?
Okay. Well, thanks very much for the question and the curiosity. My name is Kevin Cottam. I'm Canadian. I do hold a dual citizenship with Britain and Canada. I'm a global nomad, and so that is my brand, and I stick with it at this point in time. I'm a professional speaker and also an executive coach and a trainer and an author, obviously, for this particular reason. And my history is actually in elite sport. I was an elite choreographer for National World Olympic Figure Skating Champions, as well as very large productions such as Holiday on Ice, and also the opening closing ceremonies, a variety of sporting events, and the closing ceremonies for the Olympics, actually in '88, back in the dark ages. So most people won't remember '88. And but that's what I do. And I have been on this journey the last 3 years. Once I realized what the global nomad is that this has taken me into my true purpose. And my true purpose in life is really about the nomadic mindset. And what is that? And it is my biggest thing at the moment is that we've become too narrow and we need to expand our thinking. And I believe that this is so true, especially what we're going right now and what we're seeing. There's not a lot of expansive thinking. I'm just observing an awful lot, like a nomad, just observing the plane and the landscape of what is happening, whether it be digitally or whether it be, politically or organizationally. I'm just looking at all social media and what's being posted. Why are people posting? What is it on? And I'm getting a little bit, I think, saturated in many ways, and I need to idle a little bit. And so I need to go nomading, as I say, in my mind and also just in my home, obviously, because I'm in lockdown. So those things are really, really important at this point in time.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting. And that whole concept of being a nomad inside, a nomad of the mind, not just physically. That's really interesting. Now, can you tell us a bit about the work you've submitted to the Golden Door Awards? Now, I might remind people that you are in the top 20 shortlist, so that is an achievement in itself. Yeah. So what is the work you've submitted about, and what is the inspiration behind it?
Well, I said a little bit about the inspiration. The book is called The Nomadic Mindset, Never Settle for Too Long. And so, as I said, my premise really is that we've lost the plot. We've become too narrow and we must expand our thinking. And I believe the nomadic mindset is that. So I went on a journey, and it's been an incredible journey. It's a leadership book, and so I talked to about 100 different executives of a variety of different diversity and location and size of organizations. And then I also spent time in Mongolia with the nomadic culture and with the Maasai in Kenya and the Berbers in southern Morocco in the Sahara. And it's completely changed my life. And when I left Morocco at the end of my journey, I just thought, I tried to look into where the world was, and I thought, I'm no longer in this world. How am I going to get back into it? And so the book is really about looking at what are the attributes and the behaviors that typify the nomadic mindset. and how we can use those in our everyday life. And it's also to understand what is your mindset. Because in actual fact, along the journey, which is always the exciting part, is that I found so much information. And I found that in actual fact that people fall into three different mindsets which live within all of us. And those three different mindsets are the nomadic, builder, and settler mindsets. And so just even from the terms that I've used, I'm sure that you can already start to think about what are some of the characteristics that may typify these mindsets. And it's the majority of people in the world are builders or settlers. The settlers are the most, the builders are next, and the nomads are much less. But what's also fascinating to me as I continue to do my research, because I just finished my research journey, the second one, and I went to Namibia and spent time, not as much time as I would like, but with the Himba and also the San, the Bushmen of the Kalahari. It was fascinating. And so what I've really learned is that in this world is that what is being asked more of and what organizations are asking for is for the nomadic mindset. More and more, because it's adaptable, it's flexible, it's all of those aspects. It sees different pathways, it sees as it's adaptable, it's about resilience, it's everything that everyone talks about and says, oh my gosh, how can you be resilient? We need to learn how to be resilient. It's like, when you look at nomads, it's like, what are you talking about? This is life. They think about change, and so you go, I would ask first world questions, like, how do you deal with change? And they would look at me like, what do you mean? It's like, they say, change is happening all the time, so why are you thinking about it? It just happens. You just accept it. It's just there. The weather changes. Your animal dies. You don't have any food. I mean, you just accept that that's the way it is, and you move on. You become resilient. You just deal with it. And so things like that were so fascinating, and I felt so uneasy every so often, going, "Oh, am I asking such a stupid question?" But for first world, so to speak, people, we think we're so advanced. In actual fact, their mindset is so advanced of how they deal with life. And that's why I'm suggesting that, not that we go back to that, but we need to bring it forth again, which is in us, because I believe we have all the nomadic mindset inside of us. We just have not tapped into it. And we certainly have, because of commercialism, because of governments, because of so many different factors in our lives, that we constantly are in our comfort zone. And we need to become uncomfortable in a big way to understand that the nomad is living there. And so I think there's two real beautiful quotes that I'll share with you. And that is, when I was in Mongolia, I asked a woman who was head of the branding council of Mongolia, and I asked her, what is the true meaning of nomad? And so I could see in her eyes that she was going, what was she going to say? I was leaning into her and thinking, oh, what's she going to say? And she said, well, most people think of it as meaning to move from place to find new pastures, which is what Wikipedia says and all of the dictionary meanings. But she paused, and I thought, okay, here we go. Now something's going to happen. And so she said, no, that's not what it means. She said, it means the movement of the mind. The movement of the mind. The movement of the mind. Now, isn't that beautiful?
Absolutely.
And I just started to have this incredible vision of like, everything moving, the movement in my mind. And as I say, the mind is this amazing thing to go from left to right, from the left side to the right side, but it has this wandering. And what I suggest is that this wandering is what keeps us alive. It's not to shut it down by putting borders up around it. No, that's the discovery. That's the exploration. That's what will create this new land, this new world after this. And so I just thought, wow, you know, things like that were just so amazing to find. So that's my soapbox.
It's absolutely fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And this is something, again, that should be taught at schools and given. We need to give these tools to the young generations.
Yes,
This is really part of being alive. I mean,
it
why be
is.
a human if you're not going to explore every single potential aspect of your mind? Absolutely fascinating. And here and now, I want to make an official invitation. We want you back on Expert Channel TV to speak further on this topic, because also leadership is one of the topics we bring forward very, very often. The new concepts in leadership, because we can all be leaders. We all have the potential to be leaders,
Yes,
and we need
absolutely.
to break those preconceptions and misconceptions around being a leader,
Yeah.
because change happens when we lead, and it can be something very small. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. So thank you for sharing that. And now, can you please share with the audience, what would winning one of the awards mean to you?
So what would winning this award mean? Or being one of the winners, I think that it would certainly help to promote this particular way of being. And I think to get the book out there, I think there's an awful lot of deep knowledge and where we need to be in the future. It's really speaking about the truth of the future, what I feel. I mean, and the future is now, as far as I can see. Also, I believe there is a monetary award, and what's important to me is to be able to share that with my nomadic cultures, especially the Maasai. And now I will start to spend, you know, a bit more time in Namibia, and so wherever I can help their communities, because their communities need. They live on the line of survival. And so for me, it's about giving back to what they have given to me. And so it's that is the biggest thing for me is seeing them grow as well as the world grow. And so that's what it means to me is community and truth.
Beautiful, wonderful. And from here, and on behalf of everybody on Expert Channel TV, we wish you the best.
Thank you so much. And you know, even if I wasn't to win, it's just a wonderful knowledge that I have been shortlisted, because I think that gives the award, the book, a lot more legitimacy, and also that it means something. And you know, sometimes we need that pat on the back, right? That it does mean something in this world, and I'm very grateful for that.
Absolutely. Well, seeing the outstanding people on the 20 shortlist, top 20 shortlist, I really believe you're all winners. I have no idea how the judges are going to choose, or we are going to be interviewing them also to see what they're looking for in a winner. But to me, I mean, you're definitely all winners. And I'm so grateful that you shared some of your time with us today and with the audience, because this has been really interesting.
Well, I love speaking about it. I think it's a big passion. It is my full purpose of my life. And these people, these nomadic cultures have become very close to me, and what they can give us and what I hope then can translate and be the bridge into contemporary society. And also it's really about helping them also to bridge between their lives, you know, in the community, in their villages, and because I'm helping for education, I sponsor children as well, and because I believe that's the future. And I believe Africa has an immense future, because the kids there are very creative, because they're resilient, you know, and they will just find a way. It's about survival for them. And we've lost that sense of survival. And that survival is what kicks them into action.
Yes.
You know, we either live or die. That's it. You know, and we don't get that. And I know I don't get that either. I mean, how can I? I mean, I don't come from that world, but I so appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's a completely different worldview that they have, and we can learn so much from that. Absolutely.
I mean, the stories are phenomenal. And I mean, I could share lots of stories with you. And one of the stories that I love very much, and I have a GoFundMe page for him. And I'll just give you the Cole's notes of it. And that he is, at 7 years old, he was orphaned. He was in a car crash with his parents. His parents were killed. He lived. Then his family his extended family would not take him in. So he ended up being a street kid until 11. Then somebody, an older lady, brought him in and said, you should be at school. So he would start at school at 11 years old with 5-year-olds. And then through a variety of those years up until now, to 27, he should not be alive today because he tried to commit suicide with reason, which is like just a speck of it could kill you. But for some reason, he's alive. And then he tried to hang himself and the rope was not strong enough and he's still alive. And then he was almost killed when he was going to university. So he made himself all the way to graduate from high school. And he's just graduated from a Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts in Media with honors. And the first 2 years, he would walk 3 hours in the morning to classes and 3 hours back. And that's when he was almost killed. But the point here is he's now accepted into master's degrees in Europe. He's been by 7 universities. And I mean, but the interesting thing about it is not just the story, which is like, whoa, are you really telling me the truth about this? I mean, it's like, how is that possible? But he said, I'm so grateful for the people that didn't know that food that they were putting into the dustbins was for me. And I'm so grateful for every piece that they did. And he says he is just incredibly grateful for all of these pieces, all the things that he's been through. And I'm going, how are you able to be so grateful? And he said, it comes from my heart. And these are some of the beautiful stories that you feel about people. And I mean, we can have it in our own world. I mean, this is like from the very bottom to, where do you rise? And so, yeah, these stories are phenomenal. I'm so, as you can see, I'm very passionate about this. And I think because, it's not just about writing research and theory. Do you know what I mean? This book is about people, and it is about life, and these stories are about life. And many people write just, okay, it's a leadership book, and so, what are the 10 principles of leadership? It's like, okay. But no, I feel that this is very different because it comes from a very different place.
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for sharing this with our audience. It's been a pleasure having you on Expert Channel TV.
It's an incredible experience being here, and I'm very grateful to have this time with you. I mean, it's been really wonderful to speak about. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. You can watch the whole series on the Golden Door Awards on all our social media platforms at Expert Channel TV. See you soon.